We are live. Hey everyone, my name is Darth Cinema. If you are watching this live, welcome to Marvel vs. DC, a discussion. This is our very first podcast, or my very first podcast on Google Hangouts. So if you're here watching live, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please consider liking, favoriting, and subscribing. I would love to hear your feedback if you want to see more about this. So, with me, I have Daniel. And it seems like one of our other members dropped out of the call, but he'll probably be back. Daniel, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Fine. Do you have a YouTube channel you want to tell the fine people who are viewing to check you out on?
I don't have a YouTube channel, actually.
You don't? All right, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, like the title of this podcast implies, Marvel vs. DC, a discussion, is very much what it is. We look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the upcoming DC Cinematic Universe, and we discuss what we like and we don't like about each one. So I know with such huge topics such as Marvel and DC, and there is going to be a great deal of debate going on between both sides. Anyone who is watching this, please, we are just people who love these, who are passionate about these films, and we want to see them grow. We aren't hating on anything. We're just expressing our own opinions. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's jump in. So, now let's look at everything that's gone on right now. We have we've had the Avengers Age of Ultron, which is coming out in, I think, 5 days. Very excited about that. Managed to get actually some I managed to get advance tickets to Avengers Age of Ultron, which I'm really excited about. Some limited edition 3D glasses, Iron Man, Hulk, and Black Widow for myself and my friends. With all the marketing that's gone on for Age of Ultron, I am actually really excited to see what Joss Whedon brings to the table with this new Avengers film. Unfortunately, someone actually on YouTube had to spoil one of the plot points for me, so unfortunately, I will not be spoiling this plot point, so you needn't worry, because I do want to preserve any enjoyment for the film that you guys have. But yeah, Age of Ultron is shaping up to be a fantastic film. It's already breaking the international records set by the Avengers, so I have no doubt that this movie will go on to be a huge success. So let's discuss the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because very, very early on it was a dream. No one honestly thought that a team-up franchise like this could even exist in film. And yet here we are with undoubtedly one of the biggest shared universes, the biggest shared universe in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder when you look back on it, like, how is this even possible? How did someone draw a story that would span over a decade of film and just bring it all together? Not perfect, but so good that millions upon millions of people are just flocking to the cinemas to enjoy these movies. Like, what do you think, Daniel, is the appeal of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I don't know. I think people just love Marvel because it's just such a great universe, and there's so many things you can do with it, and so many great characters, and yeah, I think it is gonna be good. Although I kind of wish that Avengers: Age of Ultron had something to do with Thanos. Although I do hear that he is making an appearance in the film, and I also did hear that I think it was him, or that guy who was talking to Thanos at the end of the first movie.
I think he's dead.
He's dead?
Yeah, Ronan killed him in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, really? Yeah, because yeah, oh,
He
okay.
snapped his neck. Yeah, he pissed off Ronan and he snapped Ronan snapped his neck.
Yeah, wait, what was that character called again? That character was actually played by some guy from yeah, I know the actor who played him. He was in Angel. He played one of I think he played Wesley in Angel.
Yeah, I believe his name is the Other. That's what they call him, the Other.
Yeah,
And I think the whole thing that I liked about how they're handling Thanos right now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is they're not rushing to make him the main villain of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like the rumors, of course, about Darkseid being the very first villain that the Justice League will encounter in the Justice League film. I kind of wish they wouldn't do that because there are many other villains that you can have the Justice League go up against, like Brainiac or the like, and you could still have a really good film. But I think the whole concept of splitting it into two movies, really, you'd only do that if you had a huge villain. And I think they're going with Darkseid, and I'm actually really sad about that because we're really not going to get any build up for Darkseid. And I think with a guy that larger than life, you need to have that buildup is kind of required for him.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it does. It does require a build up to Darkseid. Do you think this Darkseid is actually going to have like we're actually going to see Apocalypse and New Genesis?
I don't doubt that, especially since the rumors are that this Justice League will follow the New 52. I honestly feel that if they're following the New 52, it makes sense that Darkseid would be the very first villain that they encounter, but I still think it would be even better if this escalation of events that happen on Earth draws Darkseid's attention to it, and then he faces the Justice League. Because
Yeah,
I don't feel like outside of the New 52 and Justice League Origins Volume 1, like when I read the New 52 Justice League, it wasn't bad, but I mean, my only real exposure to Darkseid was during Bruce Timm's excellent run with Justice League Unlimited and the Justice League cartoon in general. I mean, he was a very extremely powerful being who could take on the Justice League single-handed. And even though this Justice League was very competent and they've been together for quite some time, they still had a tough time going up against Darkseid. So the whole fact that this team that's just getting thrown together in this movie to go up against arguably one of the most powerful villains in the DC universe, not the most powerful because I know there are a hell of a lot more powerful people like the Anti-Monitor, but oh hell, the Anti-Monitor, that would make a great villain for a movie. But
what about Infinite Tribunal?
oh my god, oh. If they're building up to the Infinite Tribunal, I will forgive them for throwing Darkseid in for the first movie. I will kind of forgive that.
I think they say. I'm sorry. I heard they say Infinite Tribunal is like powerful enough to fight Superman Prime. The Golden Superman from DC 1,000,000.
Yeah. I think that here's the problem with team up films is that with each iteration you need to up the ante. You need to show that not only have the heroes grown, but the threats are growing as well. Case in point, let's look at the Avengers. The Avengers were thrown together to fight Loki, and they barely succeeded in that. And now the team has now become more powerful. They become a unit in a sense. They've become a closer group in the months that they've been fighting Hydra between the end of Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron. So now this group is more dangerous. So you need a foe that is arguably deadlier than Loki. And Ultron is that foe because in almost every iteration of the comics where Ultron has fought against the Avengers, whether it's the Ultimate Universe or the 616, this is a foe that has very nearly has conquered the universe, has conquered the world, the Earth again and again and again. And really, it's only through luck that the heroes have managed to beat him. Like if you've read the new Age of Ultron story, the Age of Ultron event that happened, it was really the only way they were able to defeat him was time travel, and like he was playing this elaborate chess game with time travel, essentially sending like manipulating events from the future. He was manipulating events in the past to shape the future in the way he liked.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to fight time travel with time travel, and by constantly abusing the space-time continuum, they did manage to defeat Ultron, but the price was almost almost destroying the entire universe, and actually not just the universe, the entire multiverse at that point, because quite a few people, even Charlton Xavier, was worried that an event like this could have destroyed everything.
Yeah.
Though with Secret Wars, I'm pretty sure the world's going to get destroyed anyway.
Yeah. I heard that in Secret Wars they're going to like destroy the universe and then reshape it and stuff. So yeah.
I really think now, especially, it's Marvel is at this point trying. It's doing what they think is best, which is rebooting the universe by merging together the Ultimate Universe and the 616. And there are stuff in the Ultimate Universe that is great. Miles Morales being the prime example of it. What I don't want is 616 Peter Parker to be killed just so we can get we can get Miles Morales. Okay, I got a question from one of my friends who's actually watching the live stream. Why are they making Tony the bad guy? Civil War. Well, the thing about Civil War is that it was a very polarizing issue, and to be honest, by the end of the issue, it was made very clear that the pro-registration side that Iron Man was leading was the right side all along. And I kind of blame the writing and the writing for that, because it really didn't show that. The thing about Civil War is it's a very difficult story to try and portray. You have to try and portray it as unbiased and not leaning towards one side. You have to show that both sides have their pros and cons. And if you've read the comics at this point, after the events of Axis, Iron Man is now a villain. In the Superior Iron Man run, Tony is now a villain, which I hope that gets done with in Secret Wars, because to be honest, it honestly feels like a retelling of Superior Spider-Man. Villainous, one of our heroes becoming a little bit more villainous, doing morally questionable things. So make of that what you will, but I think with Captain America Civil War coming out, it will undoubtedly be the most difficult film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to do, because not only are you taking a highly controversial story like Civil War, but you have to try and adapt a 7-issue series of quite a huge story and the subsequent tie-ins with all these heroes. All the while, you're balancing 2 teams of Avengers along with new characters like Spider-Man and Black Panther.
Yeah.
So if the Russos can pull this off, we may have one of the greatest superhero films we've ever seen, or we could have one of the biggest bombs we have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing some things about Civil War. It sounds pretty damn good. I mean, when you think about it, I heard Spider-Man's supposed to be in it. Like, this is supposed to be Spider-Man's like introduction into the MCU. And I've been hearing a rumor that it said like, oh, like at the end of Age of Ultron, we may see Spider-Man, and he may come in what's it called, Civil War. And in Civil War, we need an older Spider-Man, because in the Civil War storyline, he wasn't in high school. He wasn't even in college. He was a high school teacher. So Tobey Maguire could fit that easily. So
I'm going to disagree with you on that, because, regardless of, like, for those of you who do not know, Kevin Feige has come out and said that Spider-Man will be a high schooler, because while we've seen an older Peter Parker, we never really got to see a Spider-Man with the majority of his stories. Like, Kevin Feige wanted to have a Spider-Man that he loved, and the stories that he loved growing up with Spider-Man was Peter in high school. And that's why they're going for such a young actor, and they're going for a younger Spider-Man. Plus, it would contrast with all the older actors that are in there. And another reason, the reason that they're probably not telling you, is they want a Spider-Man that'll last us into Phase 4 and Phase 5. So that when we have a new group of Avengers, not the group we have now, when we have a completely different team, we're going to have a superhero that, like, non-comic fans are going to realize. They're going to recognize Spider-Man.
Yeah. Because, like, see, what I heard was, like, okay, first of all, the guy who did, Danny Elfman, he's going to do some music for like, I think a post-credit scene or something. So everybody's like, oh, they put 2 and 2 together. Oh, Danny Elfman is in a post-credit scene composing some music, and Spider-Man is apparently going to be there. So, oh, Danny Elfman, Spider-Man. Oh, Tobey Maguire could be coming back. So I heard, I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. And also, another reason why, I remember a friend of mine was like saying, oh, if, in Civil War, Spider-Man unmasks himself in front of the world, right? If Spider-Man unmasks himself in front of the world, and it's a new guy, we're going to be like, who is this guy? Who is this clown? It's someone we don't even know. But if it's Tobey Maguire and he unmasks himself, people will be like, oh my God, it's Tobey Maguire. So that, that would make more sense. But apparently, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, they said Black Panther will be taking the role of that Spider-Man had in Civil War, in the Civil War comics. Like, literally, Black Panther will be caught in between Tony and Cap's side, and through Black Panther's eyes, we're going to see the merits of both sides. And hold on, I'm just getting a message now. Let's see. No, they found a teenager. That's one of my friends. I'm getting messages on Facebook from this person. Hello. Yeah, they are looking for a teenager because, yes, they want to ride the Spider-Man train for as long as they can.
Yeah, I was really excited because I really like Tobey Maguire, and I wanted to see him again, and all the hopes that oh my God, we're going to see this guy, and maybe it's not going to happen. I was hoping for it, but.
Well, if we saw Tobey Maguire, the problem with Tobey Maguire is if we saw Tobey Maguire, a lot of people would assume that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy would then be canon in the MCU, and then why have we not heard anything about Venom or the Green Goblin or Oscorp or the Sandman or Doc Ock? Why haven't we heard anything about them in the MCU? Like, literally, they're weaving the continuity of Spider-Man into the MCU. Very clever, like, because they're saying that Kevin Feige has confirmed that at this point, Spider-Man does exist in the MCU. He said there is a kid running around New York in a homemade version of the Spider-Man suit. You just don't know it yet. So he's there. And hopefully when we see him in Civil War, we'll get some explanation as to where he was during the Qatari invasion, where he was during Age of Ultron, because it seems like he's been active for quite a few years.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, if they wanted to go the opposite direction and went, like, let's say they wanted to get Tobey back, and they would ask them, why didn't we hear from them? Well, they could make up some thing, but like the real reason is, back then they couldn't mention Spider-Man because like Sony wouldn't allow Marvel to mention Spider-Man. But since they're not doing so well, Sony, they kind of merged with Marvel right now.
Well, yeah, I think it really, whether or not that they were going to be, whether Spider-Man was going to be in the MCU was all dependent on the success of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, which I know I'm in the minority on this, but I actually didn't mind the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and I honestly thought, yes, there are problems with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but there are things I loved about it. I felt that they handled Gwen Stacy's death extraordinarily well. I really thought that was one of the high points of the film, and Andrew Garfield's acting really wasn't that bad. And maybe it's because I didn't like Spider-Man 3 that much, and that's why I enjoyed the Amazing Spider-Man even more. But regardless, so we got another question from our one viewer. So it's, don't forget about Deadpool. Okay, Deadpool is not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's not confirmed to be in the X-Men universe, but there are rumors that Wolverine and the X-Men will tie in with Deadpool at some point. So we don't know the current timeline now because of Days of Future Past, but as far as we know, Deadpool should be taking place after X-Men Apocalypse. So, and we have Hugh Jackman supposedly with his last movie as Wolverine, with the last Wolverine movie. So whether or not there'll be a crossover with the X-Men, whether there's going to be an X-Force movie, if there's an X-Force movie, they need to have Deadpool in it. But but Deadpool right now is not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As much, it would be really cool in the Deadpool movie if he references the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I would love it if they did that. And that's really why I'm going to see Deadpool, is because I want to see how they can handle him breaking the fourth wall in film format. Because we already saw that with Ultimate Spider-Man in the Ultimate Deadpool episode, where he knew he was in a cartoon and he just manipulated the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I would love to see what he can do now in a film medium.
Yeah, so that would be interesting. Unfortunately, they can't do an X-Men versus Avengers movie. I mean, a lot of people want that to happen, but now since like in the '90s, they kind of sold the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four to like other like 20th Century Fox, and because they were like Marvel was like going bankrupt or something.
Yeah, they were going bankrupt. They sold off the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to Fox, and Sony got the rights to Spider-Man, which actually saved the company during its time into going bankrupt. And that if they didn't have that, Marvel Comics wouldn't exist at this point. It would have been gone.
So it would.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. No, you go ahead. It's okay.
But then now we have this whole tomfoolery going on about how the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't allowed to use the word mutant. How mutant is like trademarked, and of course you had that whole legal battle that took place over Quicksilver's inclusion in Age of Ultron, mainly because of the inclusion of Quicksilver in Days of Future Past.
Yeah. So they can't do it. I honestly thought when they were gonna have they both had the same characters, Marvel and 20th Century Fox. I thought to myself, these characters could unite the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, or the Avengers. They could at least we could hear references to Magneto and the X-Men at least, right? Indicating it's still the same universe. But unfortunately, like the whole battle and crap going on, like, oh, you can't mention mutants or Magneto, and so for now at least, they're two separate universes, X-Men and Avengers. So it really is sad,
Yeah, and now, though I have heard rumors, unconfirmed as of now, but that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men universe, the X-Men movies could cross over at some point. Now, I am not excited about the Fantastic Four movie. I honestly feel that, obviously they're following the Ultimate Universe, Fantastic Four, which again, I have nothing against the Ultimate Universe. In fact, I mean, I own a copy of the Ultimate Armor Wars, though I hate Ultimatum with a passion. It's the Marvel equivalent to Countdown. Everyone hates Ultimatum because of the amount of characters they killed off. It was just really gruesome, especially for a teen book.
Yeah. Well, I haven't read it, so like, is it really that bad?
You've heard of Countdown, right? For DC?
Yeah.
That is widely considered to be one of the worst DC events that has ever happened. If Ultimatum is like essentially the Marvel version of Countdown, yeah, that's how bad it is. It's seriously, the amount of characters they killed off in Ultimatum was horrible. I mean, yeah, there was stuff in the Ultimate Universe I didn't like, but I mean, the amount of characters that they just butchered in that, especially in a gruesome way. Like, I mean, let's not even get into how the Wasp got killed in Ultimatum. That was like, seriously, if you had a teen, like a 13-year-old opening up Ultimatum and seeing that's like disturbing.
Well, how did he die?
The Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, was being cannibalized by the Blob.
Oh.
We saw that. It wasn't like it was an off-panel thing. No, we saw the Blob eating Janet. And what was even worse was that Hank Pym got so pissed off, he grabbed the Blob and bit the Blob's head off. And again, we saw that. It was not off-panel.
Oh, okay.
That was gruesome. It's not something you want in a comic book. All right, so next question, we get on track. Pepper Potts as Rescue. She was in a suit once. She can do it again.
Yeah, I heard she was supposed to be in Iron Man 2 as Rescue, but then, that kind of...
Yeah, Iron Man 2 was going to be a really different film until they turned it into just an Avengers setup film. And that's what it is. I don't even consider Iron Man 2 as an Iron Man film. It's really an Avengers setup film. There's nothing else. There's just references up the wazoo, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, though Pepper Potts as Rescue, I wouldn't mind seeing Pepper Potts take a more proactive role. And the fact that now in Age of Ultron we are seeing superheroes like War Machine and Falcon being brought to the forefront in these huge events like Age of Ultron, it makes me hope that they bring in other superheroes. Yeah, I wouldn't rule out Pepper Potts being Rescue, but I wouldn't count on it in the near future. All right, she's asking about Ant-Man and Daredevil. We're getting Marvel here. Don't worry, we'll get to the DC segment in a bit. But I'm getting these questions off of Facebook, so it's taking a second. She's typing them up. As far as the Daredevil goes, though, I heard rumors that Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Daredevil, is open to doing a solo film. And now that we know the Netflix series does take place in MCU, and yeah, and now she's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ties into Age of Ultron. Yeah, it's just trying to broaden the MCU by going into the Netflix and the television format, something that DC is not doing with their films and Arrow and Flash, as much as we want them to.
Mm-hmm.
Though to be honest, I will. Well, first I'll go into the Ant-Man. I know a lot of people were crying foul when we found out that we would be following the Scott Lang Ant-Man and not the Hank Pym Ant-Man. Though I feel Scott Lang, I read more of Scott Lang as Ant-Man than Hank Pym, but there were rumors that Joss Whedon read the script by Edgar Wright before Edgar Wright left the project, and he said that Edgar Wright's Ant-Man script, though darker, it didn't really fit in the tone of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That it was the best script he has ever read, and that it was a shame Marvel had to let that go, and they ended up rewriting it. But after seeing the trailer for Ant-Man, I am actually really excited because, as much as we get serious superhero films nowadays, it's really nice to sit back and watch one that's supposed to be fun. And it seems like the DC community thinks that if it's fun, it's for children, which I disagree with entirely. I find that superheroes are meant to be fun. It's a silly kind of thing, and it's not something you take ultra super serious, and you can just have a laugh at. And that's why I feel that the Avengers is a better series to relate to than say Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So, so now that we've elaborated on Marvel, well, I think we should say, like, Daniel, what is your while we wrap up this Marvel section and then we go into DC, we'll go. What is your favorite upcoming film of Phase 3? What are you most excited for?
Phase 3. Let's see. I'm looking forward to like movies like Thor 3 and possibly Avengers 3. Yeah, Avengers 3. Those are like the best. I mean, yeah, I like it. That's what I'm looking. That's my favorite. Thor and the Avengers. That's my favorite of all the things. Because if you look at Iron Man, he's on Earth all the time, and Earth is kind of boring because we know Earth, right? We're born on Earth.
We know Earth.
we know Earth, right? But
Yeah.
but Thor, he's out there in the other realms. He's out in outer space and fighting monsters. That's why I love Thor.
Yeah, but I think my thing with Thor is I always felt when I watched Phase 1 that other than Iron Man 2, I felt Thor was the weakest of the Phase 1 films, mainly because I think it was the hardest sell because he was a cosmic hero. I don't look at Thor as a mystic hero. I think of him as a cosmic hero because in the terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Asgardians are aliens. They're not
Yeah.
they're not gods. They're just aliens that live far longer than humans do, and they age much slower than humans do.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, Thor's been alive for thousands and thousands of years.
So technically, he is the first Avenger because he became an Avenger, and since he's like the oldest, then technically he is the first Avenger when you think about it.
Yeah, the common misconception that, of course, Captain America was one of the founding members of the Avengers. But if you know the history of the Avengers, Captain America wasn't joining, I think, until issue 7. That's when they found him. And he took founding member status because the Hulk left the team. But as far as in the terms of Avengers #1, he was not the founder.
No. Oh. Okay. So the whole thing. Do you like it? Do you like it being aliens, not gods?
Well, I think it's like that misconception is like if early humans, they would think these otherworldly beings are gods. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, he still seems godlike. It's just you kind of have to remind yourself when he's fighting these threats like Ultron and Loki, he's not immortal and he's not a god. He's just a really powerful alien and nothing more.
Yeah. So I mean, I really can't wait for Thor 3 Ragnarok. I mean, I heard it's going to be. I mean, I'm getting conflicting reports. One, I'm hearing that Tony Stark clones Thor, and the clone is called Ragnarok. Then I'm hearing that Ragnarok is like Armageddon for Asgard, and then they all die in Ragnarok, and then they get reincarnated as humans.
Yeah. Well, like what I hear about Ragnarok is that Ragnarok is literally translated as the end of all things. And, when we last left Asgard, Loki was masquerading as Odin. So now we're finally going to see what has happened in the time that Thor has been on Earth, where Loki's been in charge of everything. And to be honest, what I suspect is if we don't see Thanos in Asgard during his cameo, if there's a post-credit scene with Thanos in Asgard, he could walk into Asgard and literally take the Tesseract, which is the space gem, and the Gauntlet, which is in Odin's treasury. We've seen both of those, and we know both of those are from Asgard.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, moving on. There's we got Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I'm actually really, really excited to see. And what's funny is when I came out of Winter Soldier early last year, with one of my coworkers when I was in Virginia, a lot of he was asking me who did I think could be a great actor to play Strange, and actually I thought Benedict Cumberbatch because he's awesome. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is one of the best British actors that I've seen. Oh, we're getting a conflicting report though. My friend says about Thor being the first Avenger. Peggy Carter probably came up with the Avengers idea. In the movies, they say Nick Fury was the one that came up with the Avengers initiative, but I guess you could consider Peggy Carter an Avenger. I'm not really sure. I mean, since we consider now that Phil Coulson is an Avenger, so yeah, that was confirmed, folks. That Nick Fury did say that Coulson was an Avenger. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, like he technically did die. Coulson did die, but when they brought him back, Coulson was just pissed, and he said, "What we were only supposed to use that procedure in the event that an Avenger died." And Nick Fury said, "We did."
Yeah, but how did he? I've always wondered. I never saw Avenger. I have never seen that. How did he come back to life?
I believe they were using Kree blood. That like Ronan the Accuser's race are the Kree. The Kree blood, I believe they used him to bring Coulson back.
Oh. So the Skrulls are coming, do you think, soon? The Skrulls? Or are the Kree and the Skrulls two different races again?
Well, so far, yeah. Well, the Kree have been introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy. We already know the Kree exist. There have been no mention of the Skrull yet. I mean, after Thanos, I can honestly see Secret Invasion being the next big plan for Marvel. If they wanted to introduce the Skrull, Secret Invasion could be really, really well done if they did it right.
Yeah, because I remember reading a few comics where the Skrulls were invading Earth, and that was pretty cool. They're like a religious race or something, and they're subjugating. You want to subjugate humanity or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember She-Hulk was in that comic.
Yeah, I believe so. So let me see if there's no other questions. I believe that's it. Other than the season 2 for Daredevil, that of course is confirmed. Haven't watched Daredevil yet. I hear it's awesome, and I really, really want to watch it. Might binge it if I get Netflix again. So let's move to DC. So, because right now we've been talking for about 45 minutes on Marvel, but we need to now move on to DC. Otherwise, this isn't a discussion. This is more of a We Love Marvel podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So let's rewind the clocks back to 2008. As much as the Dark Knight trilogy that Christopher Nolan made is not in this DC cinematic universe, a lot of people want to count that, and whenever Marvel fans bring up the fact of the Avengers, a lot of counter arguments are, well, it's not as good as the Dark Knight trilogy. So for the sake of appeasing those kind of people, I will include the Dark Knight trilogy in this discussion. And being a Batman fan, of course, I love the Dark Knight trilogy, and I honestly feel that it is a really good, realistic interpretation of Batman when like because there's no superpowers, this is very much grounded in a Batman that could exist in the real world.
Hmm.
And I felt that they did a really good job with it. They had problems. It was true. They had problems with it, but I think a lot of people. I mean, I don't want to say that the Dark Knight trilogy is overhyped because then I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. But honestly, feeling that, I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy is good and all, but I mean, there are elements that I like about other Batman films better than The Dark Knight. I will admit that. If you want, like, I can't really formulate my opinion into words. It's like I can think it in my head. It's just not really coming into words. If anyone wants to see what I think about The Dark Knight and the original Michael Keaton Batman, go look up the Nostalgia Critics old versus new of Batman versus The Dark Knight. While I feel that both films are equally as good, I neither value one over the other, and I think both deserve an equal amount of praise. A lot of the points, the pros and cons from both films can be seen in that comparison. So yeah, go check it out. Nostalgia Critic, old versus new, Batman versus The Dark Knight. What were your thoughts, Dan, on the Dark Knight trilogy?
I thought it was okay. I think they made it a little too realistic. I would have liked to. I mean, I know I know Christopher Nolan wanted to avoid any sci-fi thing. He wanted to make it as realistic as possible. So yeah, that was okay, I suppose. But I loved his Joker. I really loved his Joker. I mean, it was like a real. You actually believe that this could actually happen. The Joker could actually be a terrorist. Like a real live terrorist. He wasn't a guy who fell into a vat of acid. He was just a guy who's really mentally disturbed, and this could actually happen. And I like that.
Yeah, Heath Ledger's Joker was definitely something that we haven't seen before, and a lot of people, um, a lot of people are now comparing Jared Leto's Joker to the spectacular performance that Heath Ledger gave. And let's not get confused here. Heath Ledger did a fantastic Joker.
Yeah.
He really did. In the world that Christopher Nolan set up, Heath Ledger was a very good Joker. And I got someone saying the Arkham games are better. Yeah, I do have a soft spot for the Arkham games. That is a really good interpretation of Batman. I will agree with you.
It's too bad we have to get a PS4 in order to get Arkham Knights. I mean, they could have kept it on the PS3 and PS4, but I guess the next one is going to be so advanced that it's straight to next gen. So
yeah. It's actually a much larger game.
Yeah, it's all of Gotham City completely. It's like I heard you can actually go to Arkham Asylum as well in the game.
Yeah. I'm really excited for what Arkham Knight is going to bring to the table. I'm actually want to trade in my 360 to get Arkham Knight because seriously, that is the one game that will make me want to get a next-gen console. It's not Call of Duty. It's not Destiny. It's none of the upcoming games. It's only Batman Arkham Knight. And with the amount of new content that we just revealed, hell, we just found out we will get four more playable characters. Adding that to the 3 that we already know we can get by pre-ordering, that's 8 characters we will be able to play as. We have Red Hood, Harley Quinn, Batman, Robin, Nightwing, Azrael, and Catwoman. That is 8 characters. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
No, was that 8 or was it 7? That was 7. I cannot count.
So, yes.
Yeah, 7.
It's good. Do you think the rumors are true? I heard some rumors that the Joker is going to come back like as another character, maybe like he's going to be like the the Arkham Knight?
No, they've confirmed. Rocksteady has already confirmed that Joker is dead.
Yeah, because I heard Mark Hamill doesn't want to come back to do the Joker ever again because he's like, there's only so much you can do with a character. He's been the Joker since 1991, and he's kind of retired from that.
Well, actually, that's not true. He would want to do the Joker again if there was ever going to be a animated film adaptation of the Killing Joke storyline, which is one of Mark Hamill's favorite Joker stories. He is open to come back to voice the Joker, and that's one of the stories he's always wanted to do. And I would buy that. I would. It's a fantastic story, but it is a very, very dark and twisted look at the origin of the Joker, and I would love to see Mark Hamill take that on. But yeah, I don't think it was because he was sick of it. I think it was mainly because he had to do Star Wars, and now has a full commitment to Star Wars now. Yeah, but yeah. So Batman movies aside, we all know the Batman movies are great. But going into actual DC Cinematic Universe, we have one film, Man of Steel, and we have Batman vs Superman, which we will be seeing in a year.
Yeah, March 2016. I think it's March 25th, 2016.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm kind of worried. We'll talk about Batman v Superman once we're done with Man of Steel. I know I'm in the minority of this, or I'm in the other half of the camp, because I'm pretty sure Man of Steel split it down the middle. I didn't like Man of Steel. And yeah, I have an older brother. My older brother loves Superman. He's as obsessed with Superman as I am with Batman. And when I asked him what he thought about Man of Steel, he didn't like Man of Steel. And yeah. I'm not even a Superman fan, and I have a good idea of what the character is like. And this really didn't feel like Superman. It really didn't. I felt that the mood was just so joyless. Like, Superman, I feel, is an inspirational character. He is like a symbol of what humans strive to become. Like, we can only imagine that we can be that good and that pure as Superman. But this didn't feel like that Superman. I mean, they felt like they were trying to humanize him, but the script really didn't do that much. I mean, seriously, whoever wrote Jonathan Kent, and Kevin Costner's acting really didn't help that much, was the whole scene, where Clark saved the kids on the bus, and then of course you have John chewing him out, saying like, we told you you have to keep inside of yourself a secret. And Clark goes, what was I supposed to do, just let him die? And he goes, maybe. Seriously, I want to hit whoever wrote that, whoever thought that was a good line. Instead of just saying maybe, you say, I don't know. That is a more realistic answer. Like, I'm sure you ask anyone, if you said you had the power to save these kids, would you do it? I guarantee you 99% of everyone on Earth would say yes. And yeah. I mean, it's, I know they're trying to tap into something that I really think would be more realistic of Superman, which would be how would our society today react to Superman? And I believe that many people would fear him. And I can see that. You have a being of almost limitless strength, as far as we know. He can fly. He could literally crush our military with no effort. And it's only on his word that we know, like, he's saying, I'm not going to do this. And that's all we have. We have his word. We have no way of fighting him.
Yeah, he could just, he's so powerful he can destroy the entire solar system by sneezing.
That was Superman. That was Golden Age Superman. We don't talk about him. He was overpowered.
Oh.
Yeah, Golden Age Superman had like it was really weird. Golden Age Superman. It's like every single time he had a weakness, he suddenly found a way to get over it. It's like there was a time when he was not vulnerable to kryptonite.
Oh, really? Oh. I
Yeah,
thought
it's like, oh, there's
Silver
kryptonite. Suddenly, I'm immune to that.
I thought the Silver Age was like the strongest one so far.
Oh no, Golden Age.
Oh.
Yeah, Golden Age Superman was the most powerful. Yeah, I was not the biggest fan of Man of Steel.
Yeah, a lot of people complained that it was like too morbid, like especially at the end when Zod and Superman fought and like they destroyed entire buildings and like a lot of people got killed and
Yeah, and actually, here's a funny thing. So I was watching the clip for Avengers: Age of Ultron, the 1.5 minute clip of the Hulkbuster fight with the Hulk, and I saw a lot of comments saying, "I wonder what all the Man of Steel haters have to say about this destruction." And what I think I typed back to them. I said, "No skyscrapers were harmed in the making of this clip."
Yeah.
There was really, like wait until a city was destroyed, and then I will freely admit if the destruction was warranted or not. I felt the destruction in Man of Steel was way too over the top, unwarranted, and really it just made no sense because any idiot could have figured out Zod is so focused on me. Why don't I bring the fight elsewhere? Yeah. All right, we got another. We have one. We have another question. Nightwing movie? Question mark. Oh my god. Oh, you should have seen me a couple days ago, about a week and a half ago when I saw this. Like, ask my family. I was ticked as all hell. So this was, I believe, the day after the trailer premiered. This was, I think, the day the trailer premiered for Batman v Superman. A photo was leaked off of the set that showed a gravestone, and it said Richard John Grayson. And that, combined with the fact that we know a Robin is dead in the DC cinematic universe, it's pretty safe to assume that Dick Grayson, one of the most popular Robin, is dead. And I just have to. It begs the question, why? Dick Grayson is arguably one of the most marketable characters of the Bat family, aside from Batman himself. Look at all the storyline opportunities you're going to miss. If you're going a New 52 logic, you can't do Forever Evil. You can't do that anymore because Nightwing was a central part to Forever Evil. You can't do Battle of the Cowl, because I don't see Ben Affleck playing Bruce Wayne as Batman for a long period of time. And I think a Battle for the Cowl movie would be fantastic if we had Dick Grayson taking the mantle of Batman. And it would be nice to have a younger actor to counterbalance all these older guys that we're seeing play the Justice League. And probably the biggest one that I think a lot of people are upset about, no Teen Titans movie.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are going to say, what about Tim Drake's Teen Titans? No. Because as far as we know, Tim Drake doesn't exist. And Tim Drake's group of Teen Titans is not as popular as Dick Grayson's new Teen Titans. And if you're going to market a Teen Titans film, you want to market it to the fans of the TV show. of the
Mhm.
TV show and the new Teen Titans comics, which are arguably the most popular group of Titans. So, but here's the kicker, and this is getting into speculation. So, and I want to hear your opinion on this. So, the rumor for the upcoming solo Batman film is that the villain is the Red Hood. And if you put two and two together, dead Robin, Red Hood, are they really going to make Dick Grayson the Red Hood? Now, just think about that. And what is your opinion on Dick Grayson being the Red Hood?
Huh. Yeah. It's probably Dick Grayson. He's probably going to be the Red Hood. Maybe Batman's going to have to kill him at the end or something.
Well,
That-
yeah. What do you think? Like, are you like? I don't know if have you seen the movie Under the Red Hood? Have you read any of the comics with Red Hood? Like to the point where, like, how do you feel now that they're actually making a really big character change to with a very popular Batman Bat family member?
Huh. It's kind of strange to me, but I'll take it. It's just it's just a continuation of the character. They're just trying to go a different direction with him. So
Well,
yeah, it's weird, but
I'm pissed. Here's the thing: the reason the Red Hood is fantastic as an anti-hero, he is a foil for Batman. This is a guy who looks at Batman and says, "Yeah, you're trying to do the right thing, but you're scaring criminals. But what do you do to the ones who aren't scared? I'm doing what you won't do, and I'm taking them out. I'm killing them." And when you look at it, the Red Hood but even though he uses lethal force, he's doing a better job.
yeah, he
He
is.
he's not taking any of that from he's not taking any crap from any villain. You go up against the Red Hood, you're gonna die. That's essentially how it is. But the reason that makes Red Hood so amazing is that because he's Jason Todd. Jason Todd being one of Batman's greatest failures. And the fact that a mistake or like Jason that has come back to haunt him as one of Gotham's greatest threats, that is both a mental challenge and as well as a physical challenge for Bruce. And you lose that emotional weight to the character by just replacing him with the most recognizable Robin.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the core of the Red Hood character is lost if you just replace Jason with any other person.
Yeah.
We have another question. Carrie Kelly being in Batman v Superman. That's not confirmed right now, but Carrie Kelly, for those of you who are unaware, in the Dark Knight Returns story by Frank Miller, is a female Robin. To be honest, outside of that and The Dark Knight Strikes Again, we don't see her that much. I don't think we see her at all. But she's okay. I really wasn't a fan of her that much, but I really think she was only a really good contrast between an older Batman. You need someone really young to balance that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I like the idea of a female Robin. I don't know. I never saw it before, but I like it.
A female Robin is fine, and it's not like making a change like say how they're making the Human Torch black in the Fantastic Four. I don't have a problem with Michael B. Jordan playing being the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movie, even though I probably won't end up seeing the Fantastic Four because it really just doesn't interest me at all. It's one of those other things where you're trying to make what is normally a lighthearted team into a dark film, which I don't think works. But regardless of my opinion, the movie's still being made anyway. It's
and they're making Doctor Doom a blogger.
oh my god. you know, I can deal with the rest of the changes they made. I can deal with the Human Torch being black. I can deal with them being teenagers because this is an Ultimate Universe adaptation. But what did you do to Doctor Doom?
Yeah, why can't why couldn't they just make him like the monarch of Latveria, you know?
Okay, like here's the thing: a lot of people, you know, I'm not gonna act like the original Fantastic Four movies made Doom any better, but at least he was more comic book accurate than what this one's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's
Trying to make it more modern because there's a lot of bloggers out there and people could relate to him or something.
Here's the thing: a lot of people, a lot of people are saying, you know, this is okay. We should just let it happen. We should be okay with it because this is an adaptation of the Ultimate Universe. It's not that bad. Well, newsflash for people who don't understand, in the Ultimate Universe, Doctor Doom is still the monarch of Latveria. He is still one of the most powerful sorcerers in the Marvel Universe, to the point where even Doctor Strange recognizes his control over his sorcery. Even Magneto is one of the few people who, like, they've had a long standing rivalry, Magneto and Doctor Doom. If anyone doubts that, go look at the Children's Crusade for the Avengers, which is a crossover with the Young Avengers when they're looking for the Scarlet Witch. That they don't like each other on principle. I think they discussed it like they're trying to out bad guy the other. So yeah, like explain your thoughts a bit more on why you just don't like you, because you obviously don't care for this Doctor Doom as much. What do you think?
I don't know. They should have made him Victor Von Doom, the monarch of Latveria. They shouldn't have made it a blogger. I don't really go for that, but no, I mean I think it's one of the things. It's one of the big things that's gonna bring the movie down. You know. I personally, if I was given the reins, I would have made a Fantastic Four 3. You know, it would have taken place after Silver Surfer, even though Silver Surfer was not a very good movie. I would have just made an even better movie. That's the problem with today's industry. They want to reboot everything. If it doesn't do well, okay, let's reboot it.
Yeah.
Why not just make a better sequel? I mean, back in the 90s when something didn't do well, they didn't reboot it. They made a better sequel.
Yeah, that's a lot of things, but then again, you have certain continuity problems. Like it was recently announced that Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, that there was going to be a Spawn, there was going to be a Spawn reboot. Now, I actually recently watched Spawn for the first time, and while the overuse of CG was cringe-inducing, I really didn't mind it that much. Maybe that's because I'm unfamiliar with the character Spawn, but the costume looked pretty good. But give him a real cape, not a CG cape, and actually have him keep on his mask most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind reboots unless they're completely unnecessary. If they're completely unnecessary, don't do it.
No. I don't know. Reboots are the way to go. I'm hearing that they're going to reboot a lot of things in the future. Like I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I'm hearing that they may reboot Star Wars after Episode 12. And I'm thinking, hell no, don't do that. What is wrong? What is up with reboots? You know, I mean, if you want to do reboots, do a reboot sequel. That way, we can have the best of both worlds. We can stay in the universe that old fans are familiar with, and you can reboot it with a new cast of people. It's like passing down the torch.
I don't think they're going to reboot Star Wars because here's the thing. They just wiped out the expanded universe continuity, the entire expanded universe, just so they could have creative freedom with episodes 7, 8, and 9. I don't think after that big of a push, like after that big of a cleansing of the canon, they're going to just reboot everything. because
Yeah.
that you would get a violent pushback from the fans that are not going to enjoy a this kind of this kind of like reboot. You know, it's one thing for it to happen to a superhero film, but then we're talking Star Wars here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would hope that they wouldn't reboot it. I mean, if you want to do a reboot, like I said, do a reboot sequel, because reboot sequels are the best of both worlds.
yeah. So yeah, let's see. We're approaching about we've been live for about an hour. So I just we should wrap up this discussion, just see how, like, if there's any more questions from our viewers, if there's anyone that wants to ask anything, just feel free. Just type like write anything to us. I'm mainly talking to the one person watching right now, but also for anyone who's going to watch this post live stream, if you're going to watch this on my channel, please type in the comments below what do you want us to discuss about next time. It can be anything random. Like, to be honest, we could talk about Star Wars, Star Trek, or anything like that in the next live stream or podcast. And yeah, that's another thing. What should we call this podcast? What should we call it?
Marvel versus DC podcast, maybe.
No, we need something more broad than that. Like, to cover, like, we're covering not just Marvel and DC. This is just this episode. We're just covering a variety of just topics. Han, I think we got a question. Do we have like one final question? No, this is just video games. Glad they rebooted Tomb Raider. But we might talk about reboots in video games at another time. But for those of you that are watching, thank you so much for coming by for our very first podcast. I'm so happy that people took the time to come in and watch. Sorry for the technical difficulties before. We will try to fix that the next time we stream a podcast. And I hope you guys all enjoy this. My name is Darth Cinema, and I really hope to see you guys in my next video. Shout out to all 130 of my subscribers. You guys are awesome. Let's head for 200, guys. So, anything more to say?
I'm just saying. Like, I think the next one we should do a Star Trek cast, really, because Star Trek is just such an interesting. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like Star Trek, especially after the J.J. Abrams reboot. Star Trek, it brought in millions of new fans, right, to this series that weren't fans before. I know Into Darkness didn't do well. It didn't do very well for a few reasons. One, I heard, Abrams lied to his audience. He lied to his audience. He told people it wasn't Khan when we all knew it was. So he lied to his audience. People didn't appreciate that. That hurt kind of the movie. And two, they used Khan because they were upset because we didn't want a rehash of a beloved character. I mean, I for one, I thought it was okay. I liked it. But a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
They would have liked it better if it was a new character. And I agree.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, since I'm not as well versed in Star Trek as, say you are, hopefully we can get some other people on here who know a lot about Star Trek, and maybe we can discuss about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We're actually we're quickly approaching over an hour mark, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Please let us know what topics you want to talk about in the next video or in the next podcast. My name is Darth Cinema. Thank you guys so much. I will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for coming by, Dan.
Okay, you're welcome.